Well, I definitely love times like this when I get to meet students and young people. It's very inspiring to meet, people as young as 11 years old that are actually interested in what's happening at the Capitol. So it's very rare. Most grown-ups, when we have jobs, we don't get to see kids like this. So this is, I think, definitely a big highlight, is getting to meet young people like yourselves. I think a lot of it actually grew from working in Waianae. I'm an attorney out there at Legal Aid Society, and that's where we represent people that can't afford lawyers. And so a lot of them have a lot of problems and issues, and for a lot of them, they end up finding out that the law is poorly written. So, for an example, I was trying to help somebody that was disabled get benefits. And when we went to the hearing to try to appeal it, the judge said, we can only talk about physical disability and not the mental disability. And because of that, that guy got denied benefits. And I thought it was just so unfair, because we were blocked from submitting proof that he was disabled. They would only look at certain parts of the disability. And so one of the first bills I got through when I got elected was saying that if someone's trying to get benefits, you have to look at all of their health issues, not just physical or mental, but all. So, that really was what I think really inspired me, is that, seeing that, you need to have people writing laws that know how it affects, people out there in the real world. I think that, well, it definitely stems from my family. I'm very, very lucky to come from a family that's very devoted to public service. Both my mom and my stepdad were providers at Waianae Comprehensive Health Center for many years. So she was a nurse practitioner and my stepdad was a doctor, and always giving back to the community in many different ways. And my father is a professor at KCC and very devoted to his students. So it really came from my parents, and seeing that they really wanted to try to use their talents to help other people. And so I saw that, and I thought, that's really a good way to figure out how to live your life, is how can you help other people. The first election that I ran was the hardest one. I've had a couple of hard ones, but definitely that first one, because what you have to do if you want to get elected to office is you have to really make yourself known. And so you actually have to go and knock on doors. You have to go introduce yourself to people you don't know. And it's kind of, some people are mad at you, some people don't like you. I got bitten by a dog twice already. So I think that's definitely the most difficult thing, is, having the energy and the willpower to give it your all, and it's good though, because when you have to campaign that hard, it really makes you think about how much you want the job. Because if you didn't really want it, you wouldn't go through all that. It's very, very hard work. The big issues I'm looking at this session are transportation and housing. And on transportation, I want to try to get a 5th contraflow lane in Nanakuli. Because, that's, as we all know, when you're coming home and you're leaving Waianae, it's all really bottlenecked in Nanakuli. And so I want to try and at least get a feasibility study to see if we can get a 5th lane. The state DOT says that you need to have 5 lanes if you want to do contraflow, because they said you can't contraflow the 3 and only leave 1 in case there's an emergency. So that's why we need a 5th lane, so that we can then have 3 lanes in the morning, you can cone off, and 3 lanes in the afternoon. And the other big issue is homelessness and housing. And so I have a bill to try to legalize trailer parks. And so I don't know if you know what those are, but in the mainland they have those where people can get like a RV, they call them, like a recreational vehicle. And it's something that you can actually live in. It's like camping, but you're in a vehicle. And some of them are run very well on the mainland. And I want to include shipping containers as something that you could use as your mobile home. Because it's a much, much cheaper way to live. And I think a lot of the chronic homeless could possibly find that something that they could afford and that they would want to do. So those are 2 big ideas. Oh, a big one that affects the Waianae Coast is assessment tests. We have immersion students in Punanaleo and immersion students at the Nanakuli Elementary School, and many that travel outside of Waianae for immersion education in Hawaiian language. But the trouble is that the assessment tests are not, they're translated from, there's an English test that they just translated straight into Hawaiian. And so when the kids try to take the test, it doesn't make any sense. And a lot of it's gibberish. So for the past 2 years, we tried to introduce a bill, and it would require that the test be created in the Hawaiian language. So I'm going to sponsor that again, working with OHA on that measure. Well, I feel very, very grateful that my parents ended up in Waianae. You know, my mother actually had gone to Waianae High School and grown up here, and then she met my dad when she was at UH, and they lived in town, and then they moved back to Waianae when I was born. I was about 3 years old. And so really Waianae is the only home I've ever known, so far back as I can remember. And I feel so grateful because Waianae really is the real Hawaii. You know, it's just one of the few places left in our state where the Hawaiian culture is still alive and well. And many people that I meet, you know, that grew up in other areas, they really don't know much about the Hawaiian culture at all. And so I feel very lucky that I got such a deep exposure to our host culture, and have a great love and respect for it. And I got to see really too a very close-knit community. You know, in Waianae, it's like there's one way in, one way out, so everybody knows each other. We're very like accountable to each other. And so I feel very, very happy that I came from that community, and it's really helped to shape me into be a much more community-minded person and someone that appreciates what's special about Hawaii and our environment and the culture here. What's really helped to make me a better person has been to become a mother. You know, before I became a mom, I really wasn't sure how to deal with children and kind of intimidated by kids. Okay, come in. And so really it's made me like understand so much more about the special bond that parents have with their children. And ever since I became a mother, I realized too that I worry so much less about what people think of me. You know, before that I was worried about, do people like me, do they not like me? And now what I think about when I'm trying to make a decision, I think about my son, I think about Ke'ani, and what's going to matter most to him. And then it's like, at that point, it doesn't matter I don't care what anyone's going to think about what I do or say, because I know it's about the future. You know, so that's, I think, a big thing.